All right, good evening, everyone. Welcome to the meeting of the WEARE Board of Selectmen for August 23rd, 2022. We'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, we will start with the police radio communication discussion. I recognize Chief Moore.
So we have two different topics. One is for the maintenance agreement we currently have with R&R Communications Incorporated, and the other one is for the overall system. Which would you like first?
What do you mean overall system?
System like the 4 towers and everything like that.
Okay, we're not going to be discussing monetary values tonight
Okay.
because there is going to be an RFP process on this.
Right. No, I
So-
get that.
So no monetary numbers can be discussed. A plan can be discussed, but not monetary
There you
numbers.
go. Okay.
Okay?
Which one would you
As
like?
far for the 4-tower system, but for the maintenance, we can talk about that.
Okay, so I'll do the maintenance first.
And
So,
this is the current system we have.
yeah, this
for
is the
maintenance.
maintenance agreement we have with R&R. Each of you have a copy. I looked at this and looked at what we were getting for our money, and we can actually save money by switching to two-way. There's a time limit on this because we're getting ready to go into the fourth quarter of the year. And after speaking with our town administrator, we want to provide 30 days notice if you all do decide to switch over. So I'm giving you just an overview of what the difference is. In looking at the system, I believe the system needs to be divided up into 2 parts regardless. One system for the maintenance of our portable, our mobile, and our base station radios for each department, because obviously emergency communications involves fire, police, and DPW. We each have our own radios in the cars in which we carry, and they're all covered by R&R Communications. Then we have, of course, the Mine Hill Tower, and they quote 8 repeaters instead of the 11 we have that they're agreed to do maintenance on. Based on what you all seen, obviously the maintenance isn't getting done there. For the repeaters and Mine Hill, I would suggest, and I was trying to get input from two-way communication, based on the fact that we're going to a new system. If you decide to cancel that, just take it and put it in a revolving fund for any repairs until we get the new system. Because obviously nothing's getting done. We're paying about $7,000 or $8,000, I believe it was, to R&R, and we're getting no return on that investment between the fire, the police, and the DPW. Combine the accounts, put them under the emergency operations manager for the town. It used to be the fire chief. I don't know if anybody's acting right now, but it still can go in a line because that person covers all 3 departments. And then the actual maintenance on the department-issued equipment can go in the same lines that are already set up for there. And I'll just give you an overview for the police department. So for the Mine Hill, the 8 radio repeater stations, we're paying $585 a month. That's what we can put into an account revolving fund. I did ask two-way if he could get a quote on if he would even recommend doing maintenance on them for that. He hasn't responded yet, but if I get that information, I'll definitely forward it to you. As far as police department radios, R&R, they're covering 14 portable radios. When you look at the model numbers of the radios, they list every one of them's outdated. Nothing is what we've had, so that'll tell you how long they've actually worked on anything of ours. They quote us for 11 vehicle radios. Obviously, we don't have 11 vehicles. We have 6 vehicles and an ACO vehicle. The ACO vehicle has an old radio which wouldn't be covered by the manufacturer warranty, so we're not even worried about that, getting that in any type of maintenance agreement. So it's 6 radios we would have, and then the 1 base radio. So right now we pay R&R Communications $350.50 a month. What is included with R&R, which is not with two-way communications, they include replacement batteries. So all we got to do is call them. We have a battery chirping because it starts chirping when it goes bad, and they'll send us a new one. The value of those batteries is about $120 each. So what I did is I got a quote for the battery to figure out it was about $120 each. Included that in the two-way communication Services Incorporated equipment fee So to cover our current models of the 14 portable radios, the 6 mobile vehicle radios, and the base station is $61 a month. So you're talking $350 to $61. That would leave us $289.50 a month for replacement batteries, which would come out to 140 of it to keep them in the life cycle, and that would still leave us $149.50 for any repairs we need. So it's kind of a no-brainer in my book for the police department switching from R&R to two-way communications. Is everybody able to follow that? And the numbers are on this sheet. And I've got one more copy if anybody wants to see it.
So, just so I get this right, so basically, the police department wants to forego any and all maintenance to the existing voters and
I would
repeater.
recommend that. Based on what you saw on the sites, they're obviously not being maintained. We're paying $585 a month for nothing. And that was the assessment of another professional in the industry who recommended the town move away from R&R, provide notice to them, and get under a new system. Because, and this is just my opinion, because we're going to a new system anyway, and our existing equipment is patched together just so it'll last until there, I don't know if anybody would give us a maintenance agreement for what we have. I would suggest we just put that money, $585 a month, in a revolving account. And if anything needs to be repaired, we have that money to get it repaired, to get us to the new equipment. And those funds I would put under the emergency operations director, because that person covers all 3 departments. As far as the police department itself, talking just our portable and mobile radios, that was $350.50 is what we pay to R&R.
I understand
monthly.
that.
Yeah.
I understand that.
Okay. I did talk to Benji. He's still got to send two-way his model numbers for his radios to get a quote. More than likely, they're not going to be under manufacturer warranty anyway, so it's going to be irrelevant. His costs are probably going lower. He had no problem with the $75. I have not spoken to anybody at the fire department because I did have a question on the fire department. Under their new system, I don't know if they're even going to stay with R&R, but I haven't seen anybody to, I don't know if that's covered by their current contract with Capital. Somebody from the fire department would have to answer that.
That's not me.
Yeah.
Board members' input?
So are we looking 585 for 12 months out anyway to completion of the other project? Wouldn't you say at a minimum?
How many months?
12?
Oh, at minimum, yeah.
Yeah. So $6,000 approximately? More or less.
Personally, Chief, I'd like to see the actual repeater put back in the maintenance agreement.
Okay.
Not the voters. We all know where they're at. But,
Gotcha.
But the actual repeater on Mine Hill, I'd like to see that put back in the maintenance agreement.
I can definitely reach out to him,
'Cause
see if he can get us a number.
that's a high-priced item.
Okay.
And that's the only reason why I'd want to see it put back in there.
Yep. I'll get that to you and send it to everybody and put it on my website so it's available for the public to view also.
Selectman Van, would you agree with that?
Yeah, the impression, talking to the technicians about that repeater, is the repeater itself is, the technology's still good, it's still very serviceable. I see no reason why we should take it offline.
Right.
Or
Make it
take
happen.
it out of maintenance.
I like I said, I mean, all the other ones, we know. But
Okay.
again, I think that repeater, the actual equipment, that particular unit is still viable,
Yep, makes sense.
so. Okay. I think that was pretty much it on the maintenance, right? So-
That would, if we want to split, I guess you have to make a decision if you want to split it and let me take mine out of the actual department equipment to get under two-way.
I mean, I personally don't have a problem with that. but
I would have a question whether the agreement is one agreement for 3 departments or 3 separate agreements.
Yeah, I'd have to
If
contact
it's
R&R.
3 separate agreements, I have no problem with it.
Right.
But if it's one
if it's
agreement,
a
then
blank,
that's
if
gonna
it's a blanket,
change-
that's gonna change the dynamic considerably.
That's gonna change the overall agreement.
And I
with
know,
R&R.
and I know that we, as the board, combined the line because every department had individual lines that they were paying for the maintenance contract. So we combined it all, I believe it was under fire, right, Naomi? We put it all, so that would be a good question
Yeah,
to
yeah.
find out.
If fire is gonna be switching the radio maintenance to whoever capital area uses,
Correct.
that would just leave Benji's department then as to where are they gonna go.
Right. I mean, it does, you know, the page does say police department.
Yeah, it's invoiced separately, correct?
I
No.
believe s-
It's invoiced.
Not that I'm aware of.
It's not
I
invoiced
don't think
separately,
it is.
no, and it's definitely not, I
It's a
don't
quarterly
think,
payment,
Right.
that I do know.
yeah, but it
What are
looks.
all 3?
It appears that the maintenance agreements are separate for highway and, police.
I think it's a sound idea. I think we just need to figure out the back end in terms of the 3 separate departments and where fire's maintenance is gonna be going to.
Yeah, and this first page of the maintenance agreement has all 3 on here, so yeah, we definitely want to figure that out before we separate.
Okay. I'll send you all that information once I
Okay.
find out. Thank you.
Yep.
But it should be, the first page is the total.
Correct.
Take the next 3.
And then it opens it up all 3,
Right, it
right?
breaks down the 3 each. It's not all 4 pages added together.
Okay,
So the contract is 2123 broken down for police at 425.50,
right,
fire 1325, DPW 372.50.
right.
So I don't want you to think it's adding all 4 of those pages together.
No, I just, again, I mean, there's a couple here where it actually states, you know, the start is 2012, yet this one's amended 2015, so it just seems a little muddy.
Yeah, it was very muddy. Like I said,
Yeah.
for my department, every piece of equipment on there, minus my base station radio, we don't have. So I don't know what they're maintaining.
Solid point. Yeah, those are all the older ones. That's all, like
Who's
that's all
gonna
like
reach
fire
out to
is.
the Board of Fire Wards regarding the fire side, getting that information? Are we gonna ask the chief to do that, or are we gonna do that internally?
I think the chief can do it.
Okay. I can reach.
I just wanna make sure we
I've been
all know
looking
who's
for
gonna be.
Richards to ask him. I was gonna start
Yeah.
with him or.
I just wanna make sure we know who's gonna be asking what, so we just don't.
Yeah, I think the 2 chiefs talking to each other would be probably the easiest.
Okay. Piece of cake. And then we'll send you a follow-up summary.
Sounds good. That works.
Thank you.
Good evening. How you guys doing tonight?
Happy to be here.
So, this week, as you can see, I submitted some paperwork as far as Plan A and Plan B as we are now. We're not gonna talk about monetary for Plan A, but specifically on the co-location application. You can see on one of the forms I gave you, the 8.5 by 11 sheet, where it's blown up, you can see that there is no application fee to get on, or to begin conversations with both American Tower and Pyramid Network Services. Initially, American Tower doesn't have one to begin with, and Pyramid Network Services has said that they will waive any application fee to allow us to get to a point where we can figure out what the reoccurring fees are gonna be to determine what course of action the town is gonna go forward with. With that being said, there's a couple of things that need to get done to allow us to open up lines of communication with American Tower and Pyramid Network Services. You can see our point of contact for American Tower is Jeremiah White. One thing the town would need to do is do a customer credit application. Once that is completed, about a week later, we can submit the application to American Tower. The application would be non-binding, it would just be information on what equipment we would be looking at putting on the tower itself. Again, there are no fees for this phase, it would just open up lines of communication to allow us to see if it is feasible or not. The turnaround time to even get the whole blessing, good to go, is about 3 months. So it is a timely process, and there could be hiccups along the way, which could greatly extend it. So they anticipate about a 3-month turnaround from time of doing the credit application to the time of starting communication with reoccurring fees. So I would ask that the board identify a person responsible for completing the credit application for the town, along with submitting the application. Obviously, with the application, I would look at using our resources. So we have individuals in that field submit the paperwork that knows what material we are looking to put on any towers, if this plan is the one that we move forward with, or if we go with a different course of action. Again, there's no fees associated. If we need to change the plan down the road and go with different equipment, we can do so, and it won't cost the town any money. So it's a no-lose situation, in my opinion.
Would there be any costs if plans change?
As
Do
long,
we have to resubmit anything?
we would need to resubmit the application if the plans change as far as equipment going up on the tower, but there will be no fees until we get to the point that we need to do site inspections, site analyses, but we won't get there until we lock in with them and have a notice to proceed, and that's when fees could start coming in. But obviously, the Board of Selectmen would need to authorize any and all fees that are attributed to this project with American Tower. Second is Pyramid Network Services. They're a third-party vendor who oversees the towers of Norris Road and Toby Hill for US Cellular. For them, we just need to submit the letter of intent, which was brought up last week, along with identify who the tenant is going to be on their application and applicant. Everything else on that form has been updated for the equipment that we are anticipating using. But again, if things need to change, we can change them and resubmit the application.
Okay.
Mine Hill, does that fall under the American Tower Corp?
Mine Hill is Crown Castle that owns Mine Hill.
Okay.
But we do not, it's our understanding there's not much change that needs to happen up there
Okay.
tentatively, and they already have the agreement with them that there's no reoccurring fees, is my understanding,
Okay.
based on the zoning ordinances. From what I've been told or advised through American Tower, we have a pretty solid zoning ordinance in the town, and they don't anticipate American, or Pyramid Network Services having a reoccurring fee as well.
Okay.
It might take a little negotiation and legwork and, you know, standing firm, but it's very doable, in their opinion, to get a zero reoccurring, which obviously is the goal.
Okay.
As you can see on Plan B, there are definite reoccurring fees, there's pros and cons to it, but we can figure that out down the road after some other decisions. Once we get more information, we just need to submit these applications to get the ball rolling to start talks.
Absolutely. Does the board have any questions?
No, just what you're asking for tonight, for us to make a decision on, is that we begin the process for the, for the application.
Roger that. So it would be 3 separate applications, each cell tower
I got it.
that we have identified as a potential. Obviously, plans can change based on who gets, we get responses for an RFP, but we can always adjust fire as needed on that. But at least we can move forward today. Based on the knowledge that we've obtained already, those are probably the 3 towers that would be most beneficial to any project if we are going on existing towers.
So 3 customer credit applications and all.
Negative. So the customer credit application is just for American Tower, so that's only one.
Okay,
That's for the Concord Stage site. The other 2, we do not need to do a credit application. It's just submit the letter of intent and the co-location application that was sent to you guys on August 4th.
I have a question regarding the fees on Norris and Toby.
Yep.
Are those per tower?
Yes, that is per tower.
Okay.
Again, the application fee, I've been advised from Heather Saxton, who's our point of contact over there, that they're gonna waive the application fee. She would submit the documentation to US Cellular, that it's a special application fee, AKA zero, because we're public service, emergency services. Obviously, if something changes, we'll ex-nay it immediately until readdressing the board.
Just to clarify too, the structural analysis fee and the site inspection fees are after we
Right.
determine there are no reoccurring fees until them go forward.
Right.
Yes.
So as of right now, there's $0 being requested for this.
Exactly.
Okay.
Okay. I see no reason.
I don't either. I just think that we move forward with it. I think that the tenant and applicant, I think that's part of the discussion here. I think that the applicant would be the town of Ware. And we could list myself as the tenant. If they need one name.
So the thought we had on, well, I think you would be the applicant, the town of Ware would be the applicant, and the tenant would be the Ware Police Department. I'm not sure. But
Okay.
the thought that we had, if possible, keep it internal to, you guys have enough stuff going on, you guys, are super busy and have all these other things. And until we need to tag you in, we've handled everything for the last
Well,
2 months.
I'm not
If we can keep it
discrediting
in our
you.
plate until it's time to present a final product to you, or if it turns out it's something out of our league altogether, there's no shame in the game in tapping out and pushing it up, but for sense of time and everything else, we can handle it until we can't. Again, it's obviously no cost impact, like anytime a fee comes up, we're not authorizing anything, we don't have the ability to, so we need to come to you anyways.
So to avoid confusion as far as communication, list the tenant as the police department.
Yes, if we can do
That's
that.
what you're requesting.
And then, so also on that application, it can be changed at any time. So speaking with, who was that one? Heather Saxton, it's a placeholder more than anything. Until we have a final decision, like, until we sign on the dotted line, we can adjust who the tenant is, who the applicant is, but for ease of communication.
I understand that. The only thing we'd have to do is put a big red flag on that for review after design, Rick. But that's a call you'll have to make.
Any other board members' thoughts?
John, I'd be interested in your thought.
I think it's a good idea. This is one of the final steps that we need to determine if using the existing cell towers is a viable option or not. If we don't proceed with this, then our only other option is Plan B with, as you can see, a substantial monthly recurring cost.
Well, I think we're at the, I think the board's consensus is we want to move forward with it. I think right now,
Absolutely.
we're just chatting about who's going to be tenant, who's going to be applicant.
Yeah,
Yeah, it can be changed in the future. Right now, I don't think that makes a difference.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, the only fear we would have is getting left out of the loop. I mean, if.
Which I don't think we would.
Okay.
We've kept you
I
abreast.
trust we wouldn't.
Okay.
No, they've kept us in the loop on everything else. I don't see any
I
reason.
trust they wouldn't.
What are the, I haven't heard from two other board members. Do you have any opinions?
I think we should go forward. I mean, we need to find this information out. Go forward with it.
Vice Chairman Osborne? I agree.
Okay. All right.
So
Does it need a motion, or do you think, Naomi? Move forward, or no?
Yeah, because you're authorizing someone else. to-
Applicant.
All right.
Is it just a single signature needed?
I don't even know. Is there a spot for the signature?
I don't believe there is.
See it.
I didn't see one.
Yeah, I don't believe there's a signature.
No,
So there is a general assumption amongst this board that we're passing the customer credit application on to you to delegate?
Yeah, Beth or I could do it. She's more
Okay.
familiar than I am.
Okay.
The applicant, email, and individual, I'm gonna ask that you take me off for for public information,
Oh, and put me on it.
because that's,
Yep.
Norris Road is
Yep.
my cell
Nope.
tower, and I don't
Yeah.
want anybody to
Completely,
get
yep.
back.
I
So,
not think of that.
let's put me on that then.
So
Yeah,
take
we-
me off
yeah.
completely.
So,
Yep.
Ricky, are you good keeping it 10 at what I put in?
That's their call.
Yeah, I
guess we
think
talked
we
about
just,
that.
said yes to that.
I just don't want
but-
my name appearing anywhere,
Nope,
Yeah,
I
you-
totally
just
understand on
because there'll
that.
be somebody
Makes sense.
Sure.
blowing that out of proportion.
Nope, absolutely.
And it's F. Hippler, not R. Just, you know.
Oh,
Yeah, I knew you were going to do that.
do we have a time, just so I can brief up the guys in the union, do we have a time expectation as far as submitting the customer credit application?
I would think we'd do it tomorrow,
Okay, perfect.
tomorrow or Thursday.
All right, perfect. That would be-
Before the end of the week.
All right, that's
Yeah.
perfect.
And there's a 3-month timeline for processing that application.
So it's gonna be, it's about a week to get to after the credit check is done, and then we would, once that's completed, then we can submit the application to American Tower, and then that's about the 3-month timeline to get all the information and figure out what potential reoccurring fees could be or won't be. Again, we have information that it's gonna be 0 for American Tower, but until we get something signed on a dotted line with your approval, it is what it is.
Late October. Okay.
Very good.
Second, can I ask one other question of the board? So there was talks, when a presentation was made up here, about a booster at John Stark Regional High School. The quote was about $80,000. Do we want to looking into possible grants for a booster? The booster, again, would allow us to have communications, God forbid, a tragic event occurs at John Stark, or emergency event happens at John Stark. Our portable radio communication is next to nil. So this would theoretically allow us to communicate in the school.
It would be a school grant, not a town grant. So we would coordinate with the schools to help facilitate that.
So this would be SAU heading that up, not the.
Yes.
Correct.
I don't see it as our roundhouse. I think it's a great idea. I think it's a great idea if the SAU pushes forward with it.
Okay.
And if you guys would like to request that, I personally don't have a problem with that.
Nope.
No, not at all.
Remember?
Okay.
Only thing I would ask is if they could look at all 3 schools and see if they can do such
Yeah,
a thing for all
as
3.
SAU 24
Yep.
as a whole.
Absolutely, can take care of that.
Nope, I think it's a good idea.
Does this letter just go in the mail now?
I can't hear.
Does this letter just go in the mail now?
If you could send it to me, and then I'll just scan it in and email it directly to our point of contact.
If you just scan it back to me, I don't have a problem with it.
Okay. I will give it to the chief, so I don't lose it.
Solid plan.
Any other questions?
I don't know.
Off topic of this, any update from 2A on those cards?
So I just heard back from Jamie on that. He's gonna get back to me tomorrow. He just sent out an email to figure out, and I will send an email to you guys, or to you, and you can pass it to the board if you guys are good with that. Just as an update as the timeline for getting those comparators up and running.
Thank you.
All right,
Thank you.
Thank you.
thank you.
Thank you for all your work too on this.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Thanks for your time.
Yeah. Okay. You wanna do yours under correspondence, or you wanna do it now? Yes.
No, let's do it now.
Okay.
It's part of the same topic as far as I'm concerned.
All right, so, with quite a bit of work from Selectman Van, myself and him met last night, and we reviewed a couple of RFPs that were out there for basically the system update as a whole. So, Selectman Van spent some time today, and he put it all together, everything that we hashed out last night, and put it in a, what did we assume it was gonna be? 8?
I think we guessed it was.
I think we
8.
guessed it was gonna be 8.
Yeah,
I think
we're
we,
over that.
I think we came up with more than that, so,
Pages?
yeah.
It's 13.
Yeah, we guessed 8, so it's close. But again, this is the RFP to solicit vendors for the radio system upgrade. Basically with a scope of supplying and installing a VHF transmitter receiver, simulcast P25 repeater system and associated components. With new antennas, backup power systems, and meeting all of the current radio system and grounding criteria that is needed for such a system. So, I know we probably emailed it out a little late, but again, we kinda did it last night, so it was not really that late.
This is fine.
I think I finished typing this at 3 o'clock this afternoon.
Yeah, I figured as much. Does the board have any questions on what is being presented? We did kind of, Selectman Van reached out to a town that just did one, what was it, in June? No,
Yeah, they put theirs out in
in the
June.
spring? Yeah.
Yep.
And obtained theirs, and they were okay with us using basically considerable amount of language that we did here. So, want to thank that town for doing a lot of the legwork for us.
What town was it? Can you mention them?
Town of Hanover.
Nice. Good.
Yeah.
Say they-
The proposed dates on this RFP, we can change those if needed. I put these on here as a practical placeholder. If we all approve this evening, RFP would be issued out to the bidders effective tomorrow. All bids would be due into Naomi by September 30th at 9 a.m. Anything after that will be rejected. And we will open the bids and award on that next scheduled meeting, which I believe is going to be October 3rd. That gives approximately 30-ish days for vendors to submit whatever they can. Anybody have any questions or any concerns with that timeline?
It's a tight timeline, but again, with equipment being a year out, or, you know, the projected completion being a year out, we can't drag our feet.
Yeah, unfortunately, equipment costs are potentially going up, and the longer we wait, even a 10% increase could be between $50,000 to $100,000.
Right.
Just in a 10% increase of material.
So that's kind of why the tight timeline that,
Yeah, are you
Select
comfortable,
Van,
are you
I agreed with.
you think you're comfortable that you're gonna be able to accomplish this in 30 days? The bids?
I think so.
Yeah, okay.
I would hope.
The larger companies that can do such a system have the staffing to be able to do this in a quick timeframe.
yeah. I just want to highlight 4.2.5 coverage analysis. Selectman Van and I discussed a little bit, is the intent of the specification provide portable coverage based on selected sites. The town's goal is as follows: portable coverage at 95%, DAQ 3.4 within coverage area. So that is a specification for P25 operations, and 3.4 is the industry standard. Basically, it's not garbled.
DAQ stands for digital audio quality.
Right, it's not garbled, it's pretty much, you can understand it at all times, so.
Minimal readbacks and
Correct.
repeats.
So, but we also put in there that the town recognizes that 100% is not achievable, but the map shall clearly indicate where the system is not achieved in this quality level, so. Again, we were here for what, 2.5 hours last night?
Yeah.
Yeah, going over that, you know, kind of line by line and making sure that we were close with what we had, so.
Well, if it doesn't work, you own it.
That's the truth.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear that.
If it doesn't
Does
work,
it
you
work,
own it.
Oh, okay. That's if I'm still selectman at that point. I'm up this year, so.
Right,
We are counting on your expertise.
so. Any other questions on the RFP? Or the timeline?
No, it seems well put together. I haven't had a chance to read the whole thing, but the opening is direct and succinct, so.
Yeah, and obviously the general liabilities on the front, that would go along with any and all town projects. So as far as insurance and, we do want, some, in here, we do ask for, references of work.
One of the key things that Rick and I discussed about this last night under, I want to say it was the warranty section. Section 6.1, it's the third page from the back, warranty requirements. And specifically the last section of this, if the repeater system suddenly stops functioning, a technician must be on site within 4 hours, and the system must be operational within 24. That may be a lofty goal, but we can't afford to have a radio system completely down.
Right, and the way we feel is that if somebody's on site, even if it's Band-Aided back together within 24 hours to a functioning level while parts or components are on order, it's back online.
Yep.
so.
Thoughts of the board?
I mean, it's a considerable RFP, but, again, I think that there's a lot of, good content in here that will get us the top-notch system.
There were other RFPs that I read through that were over 100 pages long, and there was no way I was gonna go through all that again.
The sergeant provided us with and I'm shuffling papers, I know quite a bit here, but with another bid from the state. Unfortunately, I believe that bid that was provided is just for equipment. The state has their own technicians to install it, so that's just basically the radios on your hips and then the car, so.
So that's the state bid, so if we decide to purchase equipment.
We'll get that pricing.
Go out to bid again,
Right.
so that is-
Yep,
can buy it right off the state bid.
absolutely.
Would we be putting the annual maintenance out to bid?
I think annual maintenance is gonna be a separate item altogether.
Okay,
It would be through the vendor chosen, but it would be a separate,
right, but we wouldn't ask them to include that at this time.
No, because it's under warranty, and we don't know who the vendor is going to be for the RFP. We don't know who that's
No,
gonna
of
be.
course not, right, no, yeah, I
And so
understand.
once that's determined on October 3rd, then we can discuss what vendors we want to go to in terms of after warranty repair contracts.
they may offer some kind of a package.
That's what I mean,
And
yeah.
that's, again, we don't know that moving
Exactly.
into it, but once we award it, then we can discuss it.
Yep, that would be a whole separate discussion.
Okay, if that's how you like to leave that, fine.
Any other board members have any questions, comments, concerns?
What happens if they're not able to fix it in 24 hours due to not having the parts available, or is there a fine involved there?
I don't know.
It's nothing we discussed, but I don't
Yeah.
know if there is an industry
I don't know if there's an industry,
standard for that.
yeah, penalty for that.
I don't think anybody would want that on their,
No,
on that shoulder that they
no,
let a
I'm
public
just
service.
asking the question.
Right.
No,
so.
valid
It's
question.
valid, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is, once you get to contractual, I think a potential retainage clause for that 6-month maintenance period would probably cover you there. So you would use that money, in fact, if they didn't perform, you could call an outside service.
Oh,
You with,
Yeah.
you with me? So if you had like a 2 or 3%, I don't know what the total package is
Yeah.
gonna go, but if you had a 2 or 3% retainage clause that wasn't paid until the end of that 6-month warranty period,
it kind of keeps them here.
well, that, yeah, and if they don't perform, they don't answer the phone when you call, you can
Yeah,
pick up
we
and
can
pay
work
some,
with.
you can pay someone else
Or
with
hire
that
somebody
retainage.
else.
Yep.
But we'll discuss that once we get to contractual. Okay.
Any other questions? That was a good point, thank you, Kevin.
No, I think it's well put together. Like I said, it's the opening is the key part, so that's well done, John and Rick.
All right, so, I guess we need to move to put this out there, I would assume.
Because I was the author, I don't feel comfortable making the motion, but
Okay. I'll move that we push forward with, request for proposal, RFP 22-03 for the Ware Police Department radio upgrade, to follow the RFP packet, and on a timeline of, issued the 24th, bidder proposal due date September 30th, bid evaluation and vendor selection October 3rd, and the contract award to be October 3rd. Any and all proposals to be submitted to Town Administrator Bolton. Is there a
A
second?
second.
Moved and seconded, all in favor?
yes.
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 Small point. So if the fire department came back, it would actually be an emergency, a town emergency radio system rather than specifically for the police department. Just to point that out. If they didn't go to Capital One. it'd
Capital
be-
area.
Or capital area, it'd be
credit card.
police and fire, yeah. Probably took the credit card to get over there, but.
Right.
Yeah, but if they came back, like if it didn't work out with them,
Mm-hmm.
it'd be an emergency system for the whole town rather than just the police department. So I don't know if you want to start titling it about that. That's up to you. I'll just point that out.
Yeah, because I think John and I discussed that a little bit, and the current license that the fire department holds as far as the FCC, I don't believe is going away. So we would still have that, the fire department still have that frequency
Yeah,
to utilize.
The fire department radio system is not coming offline. It's gonna
Correct.
stay online.
Right, for as far as we know, it's not coming offline, it's just they're gonna switch channels to somebody else.
Gotcha.
So the radio system will still stay there,
Okay.
as far as I know.
It's-
I haven't
that's
heard,
a
I haven't
Board
heard
of
anything
Fireworks
else. It's a
thing,
Board of
but-
Fireworks discussion, but, yeah,
But yeah, we have no plans on taking it down, at least at this time.
no, not this time.
Good deal.
So,
Thanks.
Thank you. Chief, Sergeant, do you have any more on the radio discussion, or no?
Just one clarification, I'm good to send in applications for all 3 applications? The
Yeah,
Mountain Tower and 2 for
Yes.
Pyramid?
With the
Yes.
correction.
yes, yeah,
Yes, with the correction, yes.
with the corrections, yes.
Okay,
Correct.
yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, we'll move on to the final draft of building improvements, maintenance, and repairs procedural guidelines review.
We talked about this last Monday, and there was, I added the word "and vendors." And I also noticed, Kevin just reminded me, there's not a period on the last number at the end.
How dare you?
So, it's just a guideline that we talked about, so we can, when we put things out to bid. For buildings, basically. It's for building improvements, maintenance, repairs, procedural guidelines.
I see no issues with it.
I'm just reading through it because it's the first time I've seen it.
It's effectively a checklist.
We're just gonna put little boxes in front of each number.
Yeah.
If we're gonna nitpick the period, line 6, there's an extra space before the word billing, the first word.
All right, men. Depends how you look at it.
In line 6, says some contracts will require, should it say may require?
Yeah, I think you're right.
May.
May, So I have a question, I have 2 questions on this, the way I read it. We, as a board, have requested DPW to do a good number of projects, I call them. And some of them probably could cost over $5,000.
That's what this entails, is over 5,000.
Correct. So if, and I'm just using an example, I'm not, I don't know anything about the numbers, but the lean-to on the salt shed
Sure.
that we're repairing.
Yeah.
If the material alone costs $5,500, does that mean that we have to put that out to bid to a contractor and the DPW can't perform it? Because that's the way
No,
I
no,
read,
no.
that's the way I
That would-
read this.
Well, no, it would mean that he'd have to put it out to 3 vendors.
Correct, but if,
There's no
but
labor.
if he was at, but if the DPW was actually performing the repair, they weren't gonna put out to bid for a labor contractor.
The way I read this is you're gonna request a bid for 3 vendors for material then at that point.
Okay, and I just wanna make
Exactly.
sure that we can do it ourselves.
Oh, exactly.
Yeah,
Oh,
'cause I don't
yeah,
wanna
this is
say
not-
that-
Yeah, this is
Which
not
is
limited to
why,
that.
I think John or someone brought it up last week, that that's why we added "and vendors." So it
Yeah.
can be the lumber company, it
Yep.
can be
Yeah.
Yeah.
electrician, it can be,
It doesn't stop us
Concrete,
from
it
doing the
can
work.
be-
Right.
It just more clearly defines what our purchasing guidelines are regarding expensive items.
Now, on the purchasing policy, just to follow suit, there is at the bottom of, it says the board has the ability to waive
that's right.
said policy.
Right.
That's not here. It does say you adhere to the purchasing policy as well.
But this isn't the purchasing policy.
This is,
I understand, I understand
Just a
the
guideline.
thought behind this, I get that, I
Right.
100% understand
yeah,
it.
yeah.
But it's an SOP, it's a procedure, so,
It's a checklist to avoid revisits.
right, no, and I think the outline's good, I think that myself, I would wanna see some kind of an out on here.
So you're looking at like modify 9 to say that, subject to
The Board of Selectmen?
Yeah, not so much all of the provisions, but, almost to go hand in hand with the purchasing policy.
I kind of see it as it already does.
Okay, if that's what the board sees, that's what, I just,
Well, if the provision in the purchasing policy is that you can waive it,
Yeah.
you
Can
can
waive
waive
it.
it.
links it to it,
Selectmen
that's why
can
we
okay,
waive
added
and
that
that's
line.
fine, all right,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
This is, yeah, hopefully.
Again, this is the first time I'm seeing it, so probably all
Yeah.
these questions have already been talked about.
And there's just some key points in here that I think will give them a clearer direction,
Yeah.
especially some of the smaller departments.
And that's fine, I'm good with that. All right. Entertain a motion?
Make a motion, we accept the proposed Town of Ware Building Improvements, Maintenance and Repair Procedural Guidelines draft.
I'll second it.
Discussion.
Should we put on,
We're gonna change that word on number 6.
Yeah, may,
yep,
I'm
with
gonna add
grammatical,
period.
period and space.
do
And
we
remove
want to
the B
put an
over.
adopted date on here?
You put it on the bottom.
Yeah, probably wouldn't hurt to put an adopted date.
Okay.
Yeah, Good
Yeah.
idea, John.
Any more discussion? Do you want to amend to include the amendment?
As amended.
Okay, still seconded?
Yep, second.
Okay. Moved and seconded, any more discussion? All in favor?
Yes.
Yes. Abstentions? Noes?
So Naomi, I would just ask that we distribute this, everybody gets one in their box so that they can add this to their pile of paper that's probably too big already, but.
That brings us to correspondence or other business?
I just had, so today, Benji and Peter Stockhouse and Clay met,
Yes,
okay?
I saw that.
And there's an email I sent you, but I got a text from Benji tonight while I was sitting here. It just said he wanted to touch base with me. They went over and figured out the cutting and the trimming. There will be an amended bid from Mr. Stockhouse because some of the things are gonna be removed. Plus, when the DPW is done, I'm sure they're gonna want Peter to clean up. You
Yeah,
know,
I'm
'cause
sure
there
there's
is
some
gonna,
raking
there
and
is
some-
gonna be some things to done. So he's waiting until DPW is done. But then there's been discussion about some rocks in front of the building. He said it's not even a stone wall.
Oh,
But when he
it
pulls the
was a
trees
stone.
out, he's gonna mess them up. So he wonders if you just take them out altogether.
Does that fall under our no stone wall removal?
Removal.
Yeah, I think it would,
Yeah, it
because,
Or is that only applied to on a
It's for
street?
driveways.
yeah, it's a continuation of that wall that runs all the way
That's right.
down.
It used to go all the way to the end and they took part of that out.
Yeah, but I mean, we were curious about it. I actually did the walkthrough with Clay and, but, yeah, it's a short section of wall that was left. So if you're walking into the entrance of the library, it's to your right, and it's a rubble wall. It has not been,
Not been.
Is it
No.
original or
Maintained.
was it something that was
No.
added?
oh, it's original,
Original.
because
It is
then
original?
when you look to the left, behind that rental property, I think it's a rental property, the
Yeah.
property in front
You
of the
see a
school
continuation.
entrance.
Yeah,
You just, yeah, it just goes on forever.
yeah.
So.
So that would need a motion from the board for temporary removal then, would it not?
Unless,
It's
well,
not temporary
it'd be
though, it's gonna be
permanent removal.
permanent removal.
His problem is when he starts taking things out of there, the
He's gonna
trees
knock-
and stuff, it's
knock
gonna
stuff
knock.
off.
it's gonna disturb it.
It's gonna disturb it.
Yeah, the other thing though, is just that we really, there was other landscaping at the base of this wall. So that per the walkthrough was to remain. So possibly what we would do is, maybe what we would do is just cut those trees, not take them out,
Just leave the stumps.
yeah, and then have to have the suckers maintained by someone have to just.
So
they
you
will-
wanna cut the trees very low and don't,
Yeah, I think that's the direction I would suggest based on.
I haven't been over there, so I'm
Yeah,
kinda
yeah, these
taking
are-
your
these
I
word.
would say the same
These are some
thing.
sumacs and they're not, these are.
There's a cherry tree in there
There's a
and,
couple
Just
little,
before we give the final stamp, just make sure that Benji's okay with that, as far as that scope of,
yeah, yeah.
because he marked some stuff and he's supposed to call Dig Safe,
okay,
and Dig Safe takes at least 2 days.
that's fine.
Yeah,
No, I just wanna make sure that he's okay with just cutting it as low as possible and leaving it.
Yeah, I don't think we want to get into the wall, to be perfectly honest with you. I mean, I think we're just creating a bigger.
You're asking for
a
Pandora's
big- A bigger
box.
scope of work where they'll be coming back and asking us for funds to re-landscape.
Yep.
And I don't,
Right.
I just say,
Yeah, as long as Benji's okay with doing that, I'm
Okay.
okay with that.
Instead of digging out, is cutting them flush and then stump grinding an option?
You
I haven't
can't,
seen that.
no, the
not,
trees are right in
not,
the.
not, not.
That's why, okay.
Yeah, these are
can't.
trees that are no
And they're
bigger
not
than a
gigantic
6-inch
trees.
diameter.
Okay.
Yeah, the trees that, why dig safe is being called is the big point of interest, that masonry failure
Yeah.
area. Those are gonna have, the root systems of those will come out, and they are the larger trees, and that's the only place we really have buried utilities anyway.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. I'm good with that. As long, like I said, as long as Benji's good with them, I'm good with
Okay.
it.
Okay.
And then I just left the non-publics on now, there's 5 a year, so we can do the non-public after.
Yeah, from continuation from last Monday.
From last Monday, yes.
Okay. Anybody else have anything?
Yeah, we were contacted by a representative from Parks and Rec a couple of times regarding recurring
Oh, yes.
damage
Oh,
at the tennis courts.
Tennis court.
Yes.
They're gonna be looking to us for some ideas or approval to come up with some kind of idea, excuse me.
Put a padlock on it. We discussed
Padlock
that
is an
last week.
option, but the question is who's gonna have the key or who's gonna be
Yeah.
on call to
Have
do
one of the
that?
programmed
Yeah,
ones,
we
that you push the
discussed that
buttons
last
in.
week, and
then change
that's
it
what's
once
gonna
a-
happen, are you gonna continue having issues?
Yeah,
You're gonna have to lock it.
Yep.
Did she talk to you about?
I think we did that.
I don't see any other way around it.
She-
I
She did.
don't either.
So there was a conversation Denise had with Beth about maybe the idea of what Selectman Cahill brought up was post a number that you can call and you can get the code.
Just change the
I
code
guess I
every
would
couple weeks or
think
something.
that typically,
Yeah, once a month, whatever.
maybe I'm wrong, but I don't think someone that's gonna vandalize a place is gonna call for the code.
Probably not. No, that's probably not high on their list of things
Because
to
the phone
do.
call can be traced and anything else.
Yeah.
So
I
we're
think that was a
talking like
great
a-
idea. So what it is there, we have an extra phone number. We're gonna be discontinuing the fax in the building department and just use the one fax line upstairs. So we already have a phone line. It's just how to, we
So it'd be
can,
like a robo answering.
so you just put a sign, you put one of those locks that you'll have to set the number. Put a sign that says, call this number.
And just be recording at the other end.
Exactly. You
Yeah.
get an auto recording, code is
But your phone gets traced
4725.
if we needed to go back and
Yeah.
figure out who wanted to get in.
So
At what
the
time?
lock that we're proposing is one that it's going to, when you close that door, it locks.
No, it sounds
I
like,
was
No,
thinking
no,
one of those
no.
dial ones that you can
but,
change the
but at that
number.
point, it's gonna be an honor system to relock it.
Well,
Reload.
yeah, now that statement would have to be made, which it is now anyway, but that they are to lock it after they leave. An electronic lock, as you described, John, would be ideal,
Right.
because it would
Because
be a
the door
one-way
closes, it
in,
locks.
yes,
Yeah.
and then we could spring hinge to the door, so
Put a
that,
recloser inside or something.
yeah, just spring the hinges so that it slams itself shut, just like, but that, I mean, I don't know if we want to go there. I mean, if we're ready for that expense, this would get us in the
Well,
short term.
And like we just talked about, if it's somebody actually using it for its intended purpose, they're probably gonna take the extra 10 seconds to put put the lock back on. To preserve what they want, to preserve what they're,
The only concern I would have with a lock, like originally discussed, is it gets lost. Now we gotta go buy another digital lock.
Yeah, this is that same turn lock that was over there that was 2020,
Yeah,
or whatever it was, when we were looking at the crack system.
Mm-hmm.
The same lock there, it would just,
I think
have
it's
different code.
$10 at the store.
yeah,
Then you just set the combination,
yeah.
and then you
with
can
our
turn around
caller,
and
with our
reset it.
caller ID, if all of
We'll
a
know who
sudden
went
there's
in.
a problem, we can get back. 98% of the people that go over there are reusers,
Or active, users
either
with.
tennis or of
I
that.
can't see somebody who wants to vandalize, it takes time to call to get in.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they'll know it's,
It's tracked.
Yeah, there's eyes on you. Yeah, I
I
mean,
think that's
it's
the
just,
easiest way for the short term. It's gonna snow here soon.
Yep.
Fall's gonna be over and then we're gonna lock it anyway.
right.
no, I don't-
I think that's, and then we can put a padlock on, actual key padlock.
for the winter.
Yeah, once it's closed for the season, right.
yeah.
I don't have a
Because the
problem with
tennis
that.
nets get
I
removed.
think a small sign, phone line recording, maybe change the combination once a month or once every couple months. whenever the wind blows your hair back,
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah, I mean, it's a skateboarder and a couple,
Bicycles.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's it,
yeah,
that's
it's
what
the
we've got in
bicycles
there.
I went over.
And
And
the
it's
de-
the far court, farthest from the road.
Okay.
So I think, the court closest to the road barely has anything on it, but the furthest one from the road
Yeah.
has a ton of black marks. It looks like, some kid decided to ride as fast as he could towards the
Okay.
net
Yeah.
and then jam on the brake and slide
Slide.
into the net.
Yeah.
It's just black marks everywhere around there.
Okay.
So that's what they're doing.
All right. Yeah, I have no problem having that padlock put on there.
It's a quick, it's a
It's
quick,
a
no
quick
exp-
solution. And like I
no
said, I
expensive
think,
way.
I think anybody that's gonna wanna use it is gonna actually lock it back up because they wanna keep it nice, so.
You okay putting that together? Okay. You, was signed too, or,
Yeah, I
Okay.
can assign me.
okay?
Anything else?
Well, we go
Yeah,
through every meeting and.
I got something to do with the town hall.
Oh, boy.
I mean, it was brought up last week, and I'd like to make a motion. I move to repair the bathrooms in the town hall with a budget not to exceed $1,200, with the money coming from the Mildred Hall Fund. Also, after being repaired, to open the building to the public until December 1st, at which time shall be winterized and closed until April 1st of 2023. I think that covers. We don't want to heat it, close it during the winter months, so we don't have to heat it. Winterize it. That's
Is-
my motion.
There's a motion on the floor. Is it seconded?
A second so we can discuss.
Yeah.
All right, for discussion. I have two problems with that. And the first one is I think the timeline, December 1st, is too late. We're already heating at that point. Because late October and November, you're heating it. You're gonna get 30-degree, 20-degree nights, so it's already heated. So I think we need to change that, set that back some. If we're gonna actually winterize it and shut it down, we need to set that number back some. And the second one is we need to, I'm not saying that we don't do that the funding is appropriate, the money is probably appropriate, but we've gotta solicit some bids.
Not if it's under $1,200.
This needs 3 quotes.
That's what I meant, 3 quotes. You gotta get 3 quotes.
And the scope of work.
And if you're gonna do that, then it won't be open this fall at all,
Probably won't be this
Probably won't
year.
be.
no, which
Be
is fine.
spring. It'll be
I
spring.
don't have a problem with that.
Right, it probably won't be.
Maybe you could make it, amend that, John, and say open it up for April
for April
1st
1st.
of 2023 to the public,
Right.
to run through November 1st or something the following year.
I mean, I don't mind heating it a little bit. I mean, we got the tanks there, we got the stuff, so we gotta keep the furnace on.
Right.
At least make sure it works, but, that would just be those cold snap nights that we have, and it would only run a little bit.
So we're
Special.
back off to November 1st?
I would say November 1st.
Yeah.
I think that's a better target.
Well, we currently have one quote. So, John, are you willing to spearhead this project?
As far as soliciting quotes and,
Well, if we were to go, the quote that we did receive, there was an issue in terms of not meeting all of our guidelines,
We
if I
don't-
remember correctly.
Well, I'm not sure of that.
Didn't
Well,
have-
I don't know that part, but I
Okay.
think, there's gonna be additional, he's just gonna do the floor.
yeah, he was at.
And then you
call
still
plumber in.
needed to purchase toilets, you still needed to have a plumber, you still
Well,
needed
it's
to
gonna
have
be a lot more than $1,200 then.
This person, I thought the issue was they didn't have insurance.
We never made that connection. If I
Okay.
led you that, I didn't mean that.
Okay.
way.
Who did the work at the transfer station upgrade?
I'd have to,
Yeah, that was Chucky.
Chuck.
yeah, we
Yeah.
could, I
You
could
work
ask
for him regularly? Well, John, first of all, we got somebody to spearhead the job, because we gotta have a scope of work so that we got everybody going apples to apples.
Right.
And we can, you have to pick some fixtures and kinda do a little Google search, and,
Okay, so
I mean, I'll be glad to help you if you wanna reach out to me on the telephone. If you have a question, I'll be glad to help you with that, but my bandwidth right for the next 4 weeks is not
by
gonna
the
be
time
good.
you put that out to bid, by the time you get the scope of work that's setting out,
You're in
so
October.
basically it's,
Open at the 1st.
yeah, just take out, first part's fine. Also, after being repaired, the building will be winterized and opened April 1st of 2023.
I would agree.
Yep.
That sounds fine to me, honestly.
I'll second that amended motion.
Yeah. All right, so the
Just
new,
to summarize real quick, so the answer is yes, you'll handle getting that done, we're gonna try to get done this fall with an opening date in the spring.
I guess so.
That's how, is that?
that's what I heard.
That's what I heard.
That's what I heard,
I just wanna
yeah.
make sure that that's what I'm hearing, and that's what I'm gonna say yes to or no to.
All right, so a motion on the floor is, to repair the bathrooms in the town hall with a budget not to exceed $1,200 from the Mildred Hall Fund. And after repairs are performed, to winterize the building, to be, closed and opened on April 1st, 2023.
I don't-
Proposed opening
I,
date.
I have a question. I don't know that $1,200 is enough. If you're gonna replace 2 new toilets, flooring and all that, you may end up more than 1,200.
So what do you think for a number, 2,000?
Couple thousand, I would say, anyway.
Yeah, so for now, and then John can come back to us with the proposals, is why don't we do labor 1,200 with a fixture allowance of an additional 2,000? How's that?
That seems substantial for $2,000 for
Well, are you
fixtures.
replacing sinks too?
I think we're doing 2
Just-
toilets and 1 sink, right?
But we don't know what the floor joist is.
At least 2 toilets.
We don't know what the
I don't know about the men's
quality
urinal.
of the floor joists and,
I don't know, the men's urinal is leaking too, so I don't know.
Did we have Romeo go out and look at that?
No, not yet.
Not yet.
Okay.
That's on the checklist.
Yeah, that should, like I say, that Romeo should definitely go take a look at it.
John,
maybe put it, just a whole project.
I got a copy of that,
Reference this, yeah,
which is good, right there.
yeah.
no, I don't know if you want to quote those, because those are some expensive fixtures.
So, all right, so
I mean,
the-
this is, you're gonna, we're just, this is gonna be residential type fixtures.
Right.
This
Yeah,
isn't
so,
a school bathroom.
I'm not trying to discredit or rescind, but maybe we should, because the board has to award it anyways, maybe we're premature on putting a dollar amount on it,
Yep,
Yeah,
Till we get some
till we get some
information.
numbers.
yep.
And I'm not saying, obviously make the scope of work like Kevin's talking about, but I think maybe we're premature on a dollar figure. I know that the Mildred Hall Fund has
Oh, yeah.
enough,
Yes.
but I'm just
But
thinking,
there's also outside work that needs to be done to that building.
I
too.
see that, yeah, the roof is starting over that entrance again,
maybe get a
We
better
still got that
feel.
hole that needs to be fixed on one of the eaves too.
right?
Oh.
All
It
right,
needs painting too.
so there's a motion on the floor, would you like to read the amended version? Again.
It was already seconded, Rick.
It was seconded, but he's amending it again.
I move to repair the bathrooms in the town hall with the money coming from the Mildred Hall Fund. Also, after being repaired, it will be winterized and open in April 1st, 2023.
You still second that?
Second that?
Yeah, I'll second it.
Okay. Motion on the floor, been moved and seconded. Any more discussion?
No.
You're voting against it? All those in favor?
Yes.
Yes.
Yep.
Abstentions? No. Okay.
Do you wanna clear up some air traffic on the
Yes.
political side?
Yes, I
Would
was
love to.
actually bring that up. Go ahead.
Okay.
Okay.
So, there was a request to use the town hall sign, for this week and next week. It's gonna be shared next week, with the Hand in Hand Ministries, craft fair. And there was some emails that we had received regarding the political sign policy that was on the website as of 2004. And Ricky and I talked last night, and I said, I remember having a discussion of something along those lines. So I did some research last night, and I found that August 19th of 2019, the board received town council's opinion and were advised to revoke the current political sign policy from 2004 for a possible violation of the freedom of speech. So, what I did is, as you all know, I included you in the email back to the people that replied to us I sent back a response to them, and I have taken the political sign policy off the website. And actually, if anybody goes back to those final minutes that are on our website, we actually get into allowing the announcement of a candidate's name
3 to 5 days.
3 to 5 days ahead of time.
Because it's not a political announcement, we're just announcing who's there.
At
It's
the-
not any
at that
endorsement or
point.
anything like that.
No.
Yeah, no, we're not supporting either candidate.
Right,
It's just
and this is just
allowing-
more of a notification that
Yeah.
go down.
So it
if
was
you
a
want.
mistake, it didn't get taken down.
Mm-hmm.
But we did have that discussion. If you if you go into our minutes and you hit the search button and put political signage in, there's 4 or 5 times that we had that discussion about the sign policy before we took the motion to take it off. But just so anybody wants to know.
Very good. You have anything else?
Nope.
No?
No, nothing.
Okay, with that, we go in non-public under RSA 91A3, Roman numeral 2, A and C. Is there a second?
Second,
Roll call vote, yes?
Yes.
yes.
You guys?
Yes.
Yes.
All right, and we will be adjourning afterwards. Thank you everybody for attending and watching.
Thank you.